Hello, this is Cheryl, and I'm so grateful you're joining me today. Trust that this safe and loving space is exactly where you are meant to be, to ignite your higher self and empower you in this very moment in time. There are no coincidences, so trust the nudges that call to you. As I open, channel, and share today's light-filled conversation, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. We are all working to uncover the truths that will serve us on our unique journeys. Each new day brings discovery, and this truth is always empowering, illuminating, and available to us. Now is your moment to deepen your spiritual connection. If it's light, it's right. Hello, I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to start and I'm going to tell you what my answer always was when I was asked, even as a child, what my superpower, if I could have any superpower in the world, what would it be? And I always said flight. I would always see myself on a magic carpet ride and just kneeling on a carpet ride, kind of like Aladdin always did. And I just would see the world. And I always felt so freeing there. So I start there because today's topic is just about flight. It is about astral travel. Now, I know some of you that word makes sense, and some of you are like, "What is that?" So we're gonna investigate astral travel. We're gonna talk about astral travel, and you're gonna see that there's a good chance that you have experienced or sensed it in some way. Or if you didn't and you want to, you can. So, what is astral travel? Well, I say, have you ever caught yourself falling just as you're about to enter into sleep? And it just like shook you to be awake? Or have you sensed movement, your body moving in however way, maybe during meditation or perhaps in your sleep patterns? If you did, maybe, just maybe, that was your astral travel. What is astral travel? Astral travel is when our soul spirit separates from our physical self. It's when the spirit inside of us, remember we're half and half, half half spirit and half human or half physical. It is when our spirit separates from the physical self. And maybe that is the first aha, you've never heard of that. I'm here to tell you that it is a truth of spirit. It is a flight that truly happens on this earth's plane in our human existence. And so, what happens is when this does occur, and we'll talk about when it occurs and some different phenomena that you can also kind of lean into. And then I'm also going to talk about how you can tap into it. And then for my share today, I am going to actually give you an experience that I had in which I met my spirit guide for the first time, what she looked like. I did know of her and talk to her, but I didn't know what she looked like until um, I'm gonna give that to you on my share. So, so again, when our soul separates, we have what's called an etheric cord, and that etheric cord is a connection between both selves that can never be broken until our human body takes its last breath. And then that cord dissolves and we move beautifully to the other side. So, with this etheric cord, we travel and we travel and we travel. We travel so many different places. You might ask why, and we'll talk about that. But before I do that, it's really interesting. And again, I don't always have the, the concrete answers. I just know this as my truth, or I'm told this. I was told this. So, etheric cord connects differently if we're a male or a female, and I don't know why. Maybe I'll have to put that on my list to ask. But with a man or a male, the etheric cord is on the breastbone, and for a female, it's at the top of the head. So it is a cord that it's spiritual, it's light, it's not anything you could ever touch, but it is a cord that keeps us together. And that astral travel is when I leave it and then when I come back. And that in between, that flying aspect, or that's how I interpret it, is that astral travel. It's that travel around. And so you say, why? Why do we astral travel? I don't understand why that needs to occur, why that occurs. Our spirit needs comfort. Sometimes our spirit needs answers. Sometimes our spirit needs an abundance of things. Remember, they are housed in this physical self with us as well. So they need comfort. We need comfort. They deliver that comfort for us through that um, through that experience, through that moving it from them to us. And so they seek out comfort for us. When we can shut that earth's noise down. So that's why meditation, but more likely it's in a dream state. Because again, if you've fallen asleep, you have got there, right? You have shut that earth's chatter off. So astral travel comes when everything else is silenced. And we visit loved ones and we visit past lives, and our spirits go in all endless creations. And like I started this episode, I do astral travel when I can shut that earth chatter in my meditation, and it's just flight. I can feel myself. That might not be your experience, but don't count that off either, because you can tap into it. And I'm going to just give you some things to kind of put in your spiritual toolbox that will help you to kind of tap into it. So when does astral travel kind of occur most often? And I kind of alluded to it. It's in our sleep, but it's in our deepest sleep. It is in our deepest sleep where our consciousness has no recognition of where we are. There's no thinking involved. And I have to use that because there's going to be a phenomenon that I'm going to talk about that's going to bring you into my share. And it's called astral paralysis. And that's where the thinking does happen. So stay with me for that one. And ready for this? I can tell you that your spirit does this weekly. It's not by chance, and it happens differently for us all because of our sleep patterns and that sort of thing. But we do it often. And sometimes we think of it and it occurs in a dream. So maybe you're in a dream and you're like, wow, I felt like my body was moving in that. Again, lean in. Ask your heart, was that astral travel? Because if you felt it so deeply to a point where your human mind woke up, right? Your consciousness woke up. Because if you remembered it, then your consciousness or your brain became aware. So you were thinking of it, and that is part of tapping into it too. Because we all astral travel, but if you want to experience it or know that you experience it, you do have to wake up. You do have to involve your thinking. So, but sometimes it happens in a dream, and sometimes it's a quick experience. In it's When I say it's a quick experience, when we astral travel, it is a quick experience. There's no time on the other side. The other side has no time delineations, but I always press them for time. If I could, if to present. So it's approximately like a 15-minute span of our spirit moving and coming back into our physical selves. So it's about a 15-minute break. But it happens in other phenomena as well. And a few of these pieces you're going to find very interesting. And I'm going to share a couple of experiences and examples right after this short break. So the other phenomena that also can involve astral travel, not always, again, no cookie cutter answers any time in spirit. Keep yourself open to how you feel. Your heart knows all your answers. But other phenomena where astral travel can kind of present itself is in a dream state. I'm going to go in and I'm going to be very, I'll give you my experiences too, is one time I was just woken up, I became conscious, and I know, I'm so curious about experiences of spiritualism, although when I sleep, I do say, all spirit, kind of leave me be. I'm gonna get my break. I'm gonna get my rest here. But I also know that even my conscious mind says that, I know my spiritual mind goes, bring it on, give it to me, right? Give it to me. I want to experience it. Um, and so I give that to you as well to kind of sit with your truths, because very often things happen. Your human mind takes it and goes, "Why? I didn't ask for that. That was," but our spiritual mind says you did ask for that. You wanted that experience. You want to sense and feel what spirit's like. But again, I always say capture that emotion, capture that verb, because it does really toggle you into where you are. Are you spiritual, or are you in human form? So if you get nervous or fearful, and it's understandable, I'm going to talk about that when that happened to me as well in my share. But be open to it. Be open that you did ask for this experience, because we are our spirit is always saying, I'm going to tap into you. I'm going to give you that little knock that helps you to remember what the other side is, because that's where your truth and your peace and your path, and that's where all the love is found. That's where all the guidance is found. And I'm going to help you to remember that. I'm going to awaken you, or I'm going to keep tapping at you, because our light itself knows our path and knows what we need to do. So I had an experience that I woke up and I was over my body. And I was like, holy mamoli. And I could just see myself and I could feel myself. I could feel it was almost like a wave of water. But I could feel it inside my body. I could feel, and I wasn't high above my body, but I could see it and I could feel it. And even if you can't see it, maybe you can feel it or sense it. Don't be too tight in your interpretation of astral travel. Maybe you just know it. I know that this happened. That's tapping into your psychic abilities. In our clairs are all different, and they fire up at all different times to give us lighted experiences. So don't get tunnel vision on, well, I didn't see it, so it didn't happen. No, 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 no. Um, be open to that lighted interpretation and ask your heart. Shut that earth chatter and ask, did that happen? And I remember I was like, wow, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. And truly, looking back on that, it was years and years ago. I don't know. I don't remember, and I guess I'm not supposed to remember. I don't remember seeing the spirit come back into my physical self. Maybe my eyes, my thinking stopped and I went into a deeper sleep, and then that happened. I don't remember that. I just remember awaking and being over my body. And it was so exhilarating, so exciting. Again, remember my superpower has always been flight. So it makes sense how important my astral travel is to me, is to my spirit. There's always that flight. So another phenomena I want to kind of bring in is Alzheimer's and dementia. So and I see this very often in my readings. And so when we have Alzheimer and dementia, and remember how we started this, when I can shut all that earth chatter off, I can tap into that lighted aspect, whether it be astral travel or past lifetimes or moving to this. I have to shut that earth chatter. So think about, and that earth chatter is the human mind and the thinking. And Alzheimer's and dementia are those vehicles, because our human mind does cease. So when in readings, either when they're still in this world or outside, or they passed on, that Alzheimer and dementia moves us in and out of our realms. It moves us in and out of the spiritual and earthly plane realm. I have also personal experience with a family member that had Alzheimer's, and I would walk with her on a beach. and I would just meet her spirit and walk with her on the beach. And that is astral travel. Even though I wasn't flying, I moved to a different location. That is another aspect of astral travel. And it was so interesting because when I walked with her spirit, um, it's hard to explain, but as a medium, when I see spirit, there's a lighted aspect to how they communicate with me, and then there's an earthly aspect. So based on that experience, I can tell if it's an earthbound versus someone that's on the other side or someone that's freshly on the side, based on how the characteristics of the read go. And this person would talk to me like everyday pieces or very little conversation, and just the walk. And we always meet at her favorite beach, and we would just walk. And again, I know that I met her not on the physical realm, but on the spiritual realm, and that my spirit met her. And that is what astral travel is that movement. It isn't always the flying. Sometimes it's like from point A to point B. That's travel. That is. It isn't always a flight. I just love flight, so I think that I always lean into one experiencing that or feeling or remembering that. But it really is from point A to point B, and it was beautiful. And I would meet her, and then when she did move to the other side, those meetings they changed. They went in a different place. And so that is one phenomena that I wanted to share with you. And at the time of our passing, when we leave one lifetime to another, and I want to share with you for comfort, for understanding the process of passing from from the physical self to the full spiritual self. So at the time of passing, when we're seeing our loved ones, and this happens so often in readings, and I'll be sent and I'll say they didn't feel the pain of their passing. And that will be in recognition to what they were thinking. And I will then go on to explain what our process is when we pass, is that very infrequently, not frequently, do we choose for our spirit or our soul to remain inside of our body at the time of passing. Very unusually. And let me give you an example. This is my stock answer when I say this, because it just hits home, I think. If I chose to stay in my body at the time of a drowning, I was going to drown, which I have in a prior lifetime. But when I choose that, I wouldn't choose to stay in my body, most probably, right? It's my spiritual choice. I won't say personal, my spiritual choice. And the reason being is because if I chose to incarnate again, that fear of water and that I call it cell memory of that experience might be debilitating for me. Might make my path so difficult that I won't know. It will cause me great difficulty. That one aspect. And so very often we do not, and for other reasons as well, but we do not choose to stay in our physical body at the time of passing. So what happens often, and I know a lot of you out there listening, and you're like, especially with someone that had a longer illness, or there was a time to say goodbye, and you just felt as though their spirit left. Like they're not, it's just a shell. It's just human flesh. It's not them anymore. Very, very possibly you could have been experiencing that spirit leaving the body. It doesn't happen immediately. Sometimes it does. If there's a very tragic car accident, a spirit knows when they're going to pass, and so they will remove themselves from that collision, or that from that pain that the physical body possibly would go into, right? So they remove themselves, and it's instantaneously. It doesn't take. It can happen It happens again so fast, even without a thought. It happens. So when we choose to move to the other side, again, very often we don't choose to stay in our body, and we are still connected with that etheric cord. We are still connected with that etheric cord, and I have experienced death of human, and I have seen that, and it is magnificent. That they stay with their bodies, and again with long passings, sometimes short, but it seems to earmark itself with more um, passings that kind of getting on the longer side. And loved ones do come, they do come, they do visit, and they do stay and take our loved ones home. So our loved ones are never alone when they go to the other side. And I bring this piece in because the astral travel of that is when the true definition of it is when our spirit comes out of our physical self. So there are many different ways that that happens. And here's another one I want to talk about is near-death experience. So I did just talk about a full death experience, right? And when a loved one truly takes their last breath and they move to the other side permanently. Now, those near-death experiences are true experiences. I can't say for everyone, again, no cookie cutters, but a near-death experience is a whole different category, and I'm going to put it together another episode on that. But again, in many of us have not had that experience, but we have maybe read about it or seen it on TV or kind of saw the phenomenon. And it very much is being awake when our body is not, right? When our body has maybe coded or it is in significant critical condition, that our spirit comes out and we are awake in this experience. And we see, feel, and hear all the bells and whistles and all the noises around us. We're very conscious. We're very understanding. Sometimes we do see what the other side looks like, those heavens and the white light and loved ones that visit us. There's so many different types of experiences, but it's almost like we're in almost like a dream state, but very, very understanding of what's going on. And that is an experience of astral travel, because we're very much awake and in control of this piece. And the reasons that we do choose to come back into for our spirit to come back into our physical souls are a subject of another episode. Again, but they are an example of a phenomenon of astral travel, of astral travel. And astral paralysis, which I'm going to share with you, is another phenomenon that is another representation of astral travel. When, again, the conscious mind is awake, it awakens when the spirit either comes or leaves. I'm going to repeat that. So astral paralysis is an event. It's and I'm going to describe it as fully as I had in my share. But it's when the conscious mind is awake. Because remember, when we astral travel, we're in the deepest sleep. We are not aware of it. But when the conscious mind is awake, as a soul either leaves or comes back. And that's the phenomenon I'm going to share with you in just a minute or so. So before I do that, I say, are you interested in tapping into it? Is this something that speaks to you? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Nope. Maybe today's not a good day. Maybe you come back a month, a year from now and replay this episode and say, yeah, I think I'm kind of interested. I think that, or maybe did I have an experience? Let me review this and see if I feel in my heart that happened. Because you know what? Everyone can ask for this experience. No one is denied anything that you ask for in light and love. Nobody is denied an experience. You just have to ask, set your intent out there, and open your light and open your heart and trust. And trust. And if you truly want to tap into it in a deeper fashion with that intent, ask briefly before you go to sleep. Say, or even in your awake, you don't have to do it right before you go to sleep either. I'm interested in I would like to experience that. Come and walk me through this. Give me an experience, or give me understanding of this deeper. And keep reminding yourself that. Again, erase the fear. Erase all those earthly emotions that will hold that from happening for you, or for you to be woken up, to remember it. Because again, if it does happen to you, it happens to you on a weekly basis anyway, but you want to have an awake experience to remember it, right? To to see it in action. It happens, but you want to make concreteness with it in some way. So ask for it. Ask to be awoken. Ask to be awoken. Nighttime is the most common occurrence for astral travel. And again, be open to the interpretation. You heard me. When I talked about visiting a loved one on the beach from point A to point B. That's astral travel. I might not have felt that motion, but I could feel myself walking. I know I was not in my body at the time. So again, be open to the interpretation. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get that magic carpet ride, that you're going to feel it. Maybe you will. Maybe you will just see yourself and you won't feel yourself. Be open. Open, and open up those psychic clairs to really feel or resonate how this experience can be shown to you. Be open to that. And so the deepest of sleep is when it naturally occurs. So again, set your intentions and ask for the experience. Ask for it in a dream. Maybe you say, I don't know if I want to be fully awakened in that experience like Cheryl did in looking over, or, moving up and down the hallway as I do on occasion. Maybe I want to feel it in a dream. That's a little bit of not as not as scary, or not as pronounced as to be fully awakened. So ask for the dream, and when you have entered into this astral travel of however it presents itself, because you'll feel or you'll sense the motion or understanding that your body has changed, or your spirit has changed location. Maybe you'll have free falling or weightlessness. Be again open. There's not an earmark of experience. Really just be open to it. Keep your heart open, and remember, your open heart will answer all your questions. Or maybe in meditation. I was doing a group the other day, and in meditation, a member of the group said she felt herself dancing in the trees. She felt herself, and it was a guided meditation. And she said, and I said, tell me how you felt. She goes, I was dancing and floating. And I said, you were in astral travel. And she says, I think I was. And again, it's not magic. It's not something that you're not supposed to do. You embrace it all. You have all of it. You can do and say and request all of it in light and love. Trust it and don't fear. Okay, I'm going to get into my astral paralysis. Let's just take a quick break, and I'll be right back. So my share is on an astral paralysis. And I will say too, in my groups and my sessions, not a lot of people really know what that is. And that's understandable. A lot of people have a understanding of astral travel, or have that kind of basic foundation. But astral paralysis, they're like, what is that? But as the word implies, that really is what it is. It is when, I've kind of defined it already. It's when you're you're in a sleep state, maybe a meditative state as well, but for me it was sleep state, and your spirit, you awaken in that, remember that deepest of sleep, that REM sleep, and you capture your spirit coming in or out. And that is what happened to me. So it was well over probably 10 years ago anyway. And I was really developing my light. I was really, really understanding my mediumship and moving. And I call it my deep awakening time, and really embracing. And I had already known my spirit guide's name was. So I'd already talked to her and knew her name, but I never saw her. And I know now, as I said earlier in this episode, I wanted to see what she looked like. I do have clairvoyancy as one of my my stronger clairs. So seeing is really important to me, and I call myself a serial spirit validator. I need concreteness, and for me, seeing is very concrete because I know what I'm seeing. So I know my spirit gave me what I asked for, even though I never said it in my conscious state. And I want you to hear that too. I told you how to tap into it, but I never prior to this said that out loud in my human voice. But I know that my spirit wanted it, and to give me that, to give me this experience. But I will say it was scary for me. So again, about 10 years ago, I knew my spirit, my spirit guide's name, and I was sleeping. And all of a sudden, I woke up from my deep sleep, and I was laying on my back, and there was, noise. The noise was like a deep, deep vibration, and the vibration was moving completely through my entire body. It was completely enveloped, and that hum and vibration was truly almost painful. But here is where the paralysis came in. And remember, I just woke, and like, just the eyes shut up because I I was so fearful, and all my limbs were completely paralyzed, but not paralyzed. I'm using the wrong word. I'm using the word of the phenomena. They were stuck. There was so much pressure. I felt like something, some entity was on me and completely subduing me. I couldn't move my hands, my feet. Um, I was fully aware. My thoughts were fully aware. My voice was not there either. And I was frightened. And again, that hum, and again, my humanness. Remember, if I'm awake, my human ego is in full play. And I went to dark places. I said, what is it that is attacking me? What is it that in the vibration and the noise, and my husband being right next to me, and I couldn't say a word of help. And I felt like at the mercy of what is happening, what is going to happen to me. And I'm truly reliving it as we're talking. And all of a sudden, this white light came right in front of my face. And through that white light emerged this beautiful woman, this beautiful older woman. She looked right at me. She was right in front of my eyes, and she, as spirit does, they don't move their lips. We talk telepathically. So she was saying to me in her thoughts, "It's going to be okay. Just relax. It's going to be okay." And I remember feeling a sense of love and ease and comfort. And her smile was so warm and so loving. And I just remember, and she just stayed with me until it passed. And I remember sitting there or laying there going, oh my goodness, what just happened? What just happened? I was completely unaware truly of astral paralysis, even of astral travel as a true word for it. I did it, but I didn't really understand what it was. And then when I calmed my human body down and I asked for answers or questions, and truly they kind of just came, just as spirit does. They were just shooting themselves off. And I said, "What's that? Is that?" I didn't know what astral paralysis was, but um, again, that night and the next day when I went into meditation to talk, and I knew instantly that that beautiful white lighted face that calmed me down and kept me safe until this phenomena kind of passed was my spirit guide. And I did ask for that. I know in my spirit I asked for that, and I was told that as well when I went back to pay it back again, because it was just an experience I had never had. And truly not that deep. I've woken up with smaller levels of that, but that was the magnitude was enormous for me. I was truly felt like I was completely pinned down, without any movement, but with my brain working so clearly, but with fear. until she came. And I remember her just telling me, I thought, just keep looking at me. Just keep me in your view. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. This is going to pass. And it did. And again, it was a beautiful introduction, and you don't need astral paralysis to meet your spirit guide, but for me, it was something that was so I call it a spiritual mule kick that I couldn't overlook it, and it was an experience I asked for. It was an experience I asked for. I know in retrospect that is that was my lighted request. Astral travel might be a new concept for you today, but chances are you've experienced or sensed it in many ways, or maybe even a single way, and you just hadn't had a name for it yet. Like me, like in my astral paralysis, I didn't understand that until I went through it. And not that maybe you want to experience that, but again, knowledge is power. And knowledge is a great way to kind of keep moving forward in our light. Some of us seek to uncover the truths of these flighted experiences through meditation or sleep, while others allow them to unfold naturally, revealing themselves as pieces of a larger puzzle coming together in their own time along our own unique path. At its core, astral travel is a way for the spirit to seek comfort and renewal, momentarily breaking free from the confines of the human form. When our higher self journeys beyond, seeking answers and reconnecting with loved ones who have passed, it provides our other half, the physical self, with the strength to continue navigating the lessons we are here to learn. If you're curious, ask for flight. Trust me, you'll know when it arrives. This movement will feel light and right. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for allowing me to accompany you on your journey today. There's so much for us to explore and learn together. If there's a light-filled topic you're curious about, or if you just want to reach out, I'd love to connect. Follow me on social media at Cheryl Bradley Medium, or visit cherylbradley.com to explore my offerings and events. I hope today's episode has filled you with the light to carry with you until we meet again. And let the title of this podcast stay with you today and every day. If it's light, it's right. Blessings on your journey.